Okay, this is going to be a quick how-to on how to regenerate GFO or granular ferric oxide. It's a pelletized or granule iron-based material that's used to remove phosphates in aquariums. I'm sure if you're looking at this you already know that, but this is a refillable canister that I already have full with about 500 milliliters of GFO. You can get these online from most RO manufacturers and retailers. You'll see this goes, I'll put this all together a little bit later on, but it's basically something that you use for RO deionization, and now they sell them in complete kits with the pump and the hose and all that kind of stuff. You can get them for about $55–60 at a lot of places online. So I already have this full with the GFO. I have a 5-gallon bucket over to my right that I'll show you in a minute that has about 8 liters of RO water in it. 8 liters is about 2.4 gallons. What you're going to actually need is the bucket with the RO, your vessel to clean it all in. This is sodium hydroxide, or more commonly known as lye. This stuff is pretty caustic, so you want to make sure that you use gloves and eye protection when you use it. You can get this at most hardware stores. Just make sure that it doesn't have anything else in it except for 100% pure lye. You don't want any other chemicals. And then whenever you're working with a caustic substance like that, you want to make sure you have something that'll neutralize it. White vinegar will work just fine, so if you splash it on yourself or get it on anything, you can go ahead and clean it off. You should always wear gloves and eye protection. I will admit, the gloves that I have no idea if they are chemical gloves. I'm putting them on anyway because it's all I have. These are gloves that are sold to protect yourself when you're working in the aquarium from things that will sting you and stuff like that. This is just a regular cooking scale. It's accurate enough for what I need. So I'll put this on here and go ahead and zero it out. For 8 liters of water and about 500 milliliters of GFO, I need approximately 320 grams of lye for this to work. So you go ahead and shake this all out. And be careful, because this stuff will burn you. It'll eat your skin right off. So there we go. I'm at 327, 326, close enough for me. Go ahead and cap this all up. So once that's mixed, I'll go ahead and cut away and show you what this looks like when it's all put back together, and we'll go ahead and start mixing it up. Okay, so here's the bucket with the 8 liters of water in it, and this is the reactor that I'm going to use to do this. It's already got everything in there. It's plugged in and running. Just set that right in. Whenever you work with chemicals like this, you always want to add whatever is caustic, the acid or whatever, to the water and not the other way around, so it doesn't splash. Just gently go ahead and drip that right on in there. You don't want to splash anything, because like I said earlier, it will burn you and it will generate some heat. Go ahead and put that in there. I'll just rinse these sides off in the bowl a little bit. Make sure I wash that out real good before I touch it. And you're also going to want to make sure that you put a lid on that to keep anything out, animals, somebody just coming by, sticking their hand in it, whatever. Just lightly cover that up. Remember, one thing I learned the first time I did this is that you will get condensation all up on the lid, so wear your gloves again when you take that lid off, or else the water will run down and burn your hands. And we'll be back to check on this in a couple of days. Okay, it's about 72 hours later. That's about how long it takes for this to remove all the phosphates that it's going to remove from the media. So just a quick check. Still running good. Flow's pretty decent. So we should be good to go. As you can see, the water is a little brown. That's just a little bit of the iron that comes off naturally with it. There's not much you can do about it. Let me set up some other buckets and we'll get to the rinsing part. Okay, so I have my rinse bucket set up. It's right next to my sink. The bucket has maybe about 4 gallons of RO water in it. For what we did, 500 milliliters of GFO, it's recommended that you run at least 25 milliliters of RO through it to rinse it out. So that's 25 is equal to about 6.5 gallons of RO water. So what I'm just going to fill this bucket up maybe 3 times, which, you know, will give me about 12 to 13 gallons. That should be plenty, twice as much as what they recommend. One thing I do want to do is change this hose right here, which is another good thing about these reactors. They have these push-in type connections on it, so you can change back and forth hoses all the time. And put this right down in my sink so I don't find any messes later. Right in my little hole. Switch this valve back over. And we are now rinsing. And I'll just let that run, and whenever it gets a little bit low, I'll put some more RO in it. Shouldn't take less than 5 minutes or so for that bucket to empty out. And once that's all rinsed out, we'll go ahead and change it in and we'll be good to go. Okay, this has been rinsed in about 12 or 15 minutes. Or 20 minutes I should say. I ran about 12 or 15 gallons of RO through it. So it's about as rinsed off as it's going to get. Go ahead and pop this bottom off, hopefully. And here's our canister. And we're pretty much ready to go. This I use a second reactor in the aquarium, so I don't need to use this same reactor. I can just pop out the other one, put the old exhausted stuff right back in here, mix it all up again, and in another month replace it on out, and we're ready to go. So that's another one of the great things about these reactors. You don't have the mess of having to deal with this stuff all the time. You pack it up and you just keep recharging it until these granules slowly disintegrate, and then you replace it. I've read some people have done it 10, 15 times so far, and they're still going with it. So you just keep doing it over and over again. And that's pretty much about it. So I hope it helps somebody.